What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Richard Prophet, the last dragon of the watch community. And welcome back to the Prophet Rolex and Real Estate channel. It is good to be back. Thank you for joining us this Sunday night. If you're anybody who's anybody in the watch community, Rolex lover, any kind of watch, really, but Rolex in general, on Sunday nights, there's only one place to be. We own the night. We own Sunday night. All right. Quick little update on me. That's pretty good. That's what we've been on for the last week or so. I usually do Glenfiddich, but this is Glenlivet. It's pretty good, actually. I'm kind of enjoying it. So anyway, this last couple of months have been pretty busy for me. Let's see. Early December, I drove down to the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. Hopped in the car, picked up the Batman, Batman. Drove back. Then a couple weeks later, I'm in a new project in Florida. So I threw out a few contracts, one hit. So I flew out to Florida. I was in the next thing smoking for the inspection. And I actually came back New Year's Eve, December 31st, because I wanted to spend New Year's Eve in New York City with the family. So I came back December 31st, rang in the new year. Actually, we also had a closing in New York City on that date. So we did the closing, we celebrated New Year's Eve, and here we are in the new year, 2021. January is kind of quiet, but next month, me and Cookie, actually, we're flying out to Vegas. This is my first time going to Vegas. I've never been there. She's been there once. She was there like one day, but yeah, we are going out to Vegas. So pretty excited about that. And of course, I'm going to bring the whole family with us. Everybody's coming with us. I'm going to show you around the whole Las Vegas Strip. Yeah, so looking forward to that. And all right, so let's jump right into tonight's video. So quick shout out. I want to send a special shout out to on the Atlanta video, the video about the Batman, new Rolex Steel Sports Atlanta edition. Anybody that guessed when I said see what watch it is, we had a few right guesses, a few correct guesses, and I want to shout them out here tonight on the show. So we got Rashi Bakata. Hope I didn't beat that up too much. Rashi Bakata, he knew when I said he knew it was Batman. Shout out to you, Rashi. We got Steve Franks. Steve Franks knew what I mean. And we got Frederick, my boy Frederick. He's been riding with the channel for a long time. Frederick, what's up, Frederick? And Chris from Watches and Giggles. He also knew Batman. He knew the reference. So these are most likely all children of the 80s like myself, or fans of the 80s. All right, so enough of that. That's out the way. Let's get into tonight's video. Now, who sets the price for Rolex? That's like a question on everybody's mind. How does Rolex come up with these prices? Who determines the prices? So what and so forth. Now, for the past what? Few weeks, 3-4 weeks, I've been 2-3 weeks maybe. I've been rocking the Batman. I've been rocking it since I got it. Batman, Batgirl, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and it's actually receives a lot of compliments. This watch, not just from like non-watch people. You wearing this watch, you're gonna get a lot of compliments from watch people, watch enthusiasts, watch hobbyists, horological fans, watch people. Watch people will recognize what's on your wrist, know what it is, and compliment you on it. And then you get those I want to say like halfway haters, semi-haters, that knows what you're wearing on the wrist and say, oh, that's a beautiful watch. I love that watch. But, I wouldn't pay 20 grand for it. I wouldn't pay 19 grand for it. I would get it at retail, but I wouldn't pay, 19.5 for it or whatever the market says the price is right now. But here's the thing. Now, let me give you a couple. Now, let's relate this to my business. One of my core business is real estate, right? So, let's say a builder is building a house. Okay, now, you get in, they'll build it in different phases. There'll be phase one. This is primarily in the South, like Florida. This is how Florida works. There'll be like phase one, phase two, phase three. So what that means is that you will be able to get in phase one, right? Now, if you get in phase one, it'll be a certain price, right? And then that builder determines what the phase two price will be according to the demand and the sales that he has from phase one. So just for argument's sake, let's make the numbers simple. Let's say you buying a house, phase one, pre-construction for $500,000. Okay, $500,000, the demand is super high. There's a lot of interest. Phase one, a lot of the units sell, right? So phase two, once that builder begins phase two, he might say, okay, for the same house that you bought, that people bought in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months prior at phase one for $500,000. Now that same house is $625,000. Now, did bricks go up $125,000 in 6 months? Did the cost of labor go up, $100,000 in 4 months? Did bathroom sinks go up $125,000 in 4 or 5 months? No. What happens is the market determines the value. You understand? The market, not the cost of bricks, the cost of wood, the cost of labor, determines the build cost. You understand? The beginning cost plus a little markup for the builder. But as it continues, the market determines what it's worth. Anything is what someone will pay. That's what the market is. What someone else will pay, not what the number of bricks you put in cost, the number of wood sticks, the number of rebar, how many water heaters. It's what will the market pay. That determines the cost. And most people understand that. Most Rolex buyers, usually businessmen or people with really good jobs, and they understand the concept of the market value, but they don't think that it applies to Rolex. For some reason, they refuse to apply that to watches. And here's the thing. All right, that's one analogy. Let me give you another one. My first house, right? This is particular to me. I bought a house. My first house, I paid $166,500 for. This was this was years ago, but this was, those of you that know real estate, follow the market, knows that before 2008, this was 2005-ish, there was a little stale thing in real estate where we just have little bumps, and then it just went like this, And there was an upward trajectory that was on fire until 2008. That's what they call the bubble and then the crash or whatever. So I got into this one house right when that jet was pointed up, right before it was pointed up. So I bought it for $166,500, right? I held it for 2 years. What happens was this was my first house, so I wanted to move in, but it had tenants. It was a multifamily. So, you know, it was back and forth to court. It was my first house. It was a lot of tenant issues. I didn't really know how to deal with it. So, you know, I just wanted to cut my losses and get out, right? So I ended up selling it 2 years later. This house that I bought 2 years prior, they told me it was worth $166,500, right? Fine. That's what I paid. Now, 2 years later, I ended up selling that same, not because I was, you know, some house flip or whatever, just because I was having problems with the tenants. I couldn't move in, so I just wanted it out. So I could maybe possibly get my deposit back, put it down on another house where I can move into. So I sold it 2 years later for $476,000. Cheers. Cheers to that, family. Now, what happened in those 2 years? Did the price of vinyl siding go up $300,000? Did the price of cement steps go up $300,000 in 2 years? Did the price of wood, because of frame attached house on both sides, did the price of wood go up $300,000 in 2 years? No. Now, what happened is what's happening in the Rolex market. What happens is it doesn't matter what you think something costs or what you paid for it or what the retail value is. What matters is what the market will pay, what the market says it's worth, and what the next man will pay for something. So, like the story I gave you about the builder, each phase goes up depending upon the sales, the sales of the homes or the condos or whatever's being built. Rolex, right? They'll sell you a steel sports watch. They'll sell it to you, what is it, 9, 5, 10 grand? Let's call it 10 grand, right? They'll sell you a steel sports watch for $10,000. Now, the market tells you that watch is worth 20 grand, 19 grand, 18.5, right? Now, Rolex is business, are business people. It's a business company. Why don't they raise their price according to the market? Because the market determines the value. So Rolex should raise their price just like the builder, dependent upon the market, right? But here's the thing. It's not that simple. Rolex is not a business entity in the traditional sense of the word, right? Hans Wulsdorf didn't have any children, so there were really no successors to his company. What happens is Rolex is a charity, so they don't just the board doesn't sit around and say, okay, the market for this particular watch, the Batman ceramic on the Jubilee is 20 grand. Let's raise our price from 10 to 20. Let's double our price. Phase 2, the second model, we'll send it out. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a charity. So there's a lot of explanations that they have to make, they have to do, they have to satisfy the board, whatever, blah, 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 to raise these certain, just make a price adjustment, make a raise. They can't just follow the market, even though the market is telling them we'll pay double for your product. No, what they do is there's just not enough. There's just not enough. The demand is greater and the market rises higher and higher, and people are willing to pay more and more and more for these watches. Now you may say, oh, okay, that's a great watch. I love the Jubilee bracelet, most comfortable bracelet in the game. I love the black and blue. I love the Batman. I love the GMT feature. But you know, I would pay 10, but I won't pay 20. Okay, well, you know, if you are not connected with a VIP that might get one for you, or you're not connected with an AD, you just won't be getting one. So who are you hurting? Are you hurting Rolex? Are you hurting the AD? No, because every piece, every article they get is sold before they stick it in the showcase, right? So the only person you're hurting by not allowing the market to, by just not saying, okay, this is what the market says it is. If I really want that, I'll pay that. By you sitting around and saying, nah, you know, I like to watch, but I'm not going to pay these crazy numbers. I'll pay retail. You just won't be getting it. Do you understand? If you don't have a relationship with an AD, or if you don't have a VIP that could step in and say, look, you know, I need a Batman for my friend, which was actually the case. In my case, for me, the ghost from ATL, he gave me this, and you know, I'm very appreciative to him. Shout out to you, the ghost. He doesn't like to mention his name, so I just call him the ghost. My brother. Thank you again, my brother. I appreciate it. Actually really enjoying this. I'm wearing this watch every day. So yeah, so who sets the price for Rolex? And that's the question. And the answer to that is you do. The market does. If Rolex releases a watch for $10,000, the market says we'll pay you $19,000. The price of that watch is $19,000. You know, you could huff, you can puff, you can, you know, threaten to blow their house down. But the reality is they're going to make a certain amount of product. They're going to push it out. The VIPs are going to get it. And the rest are going to go to the gray market, and you just won't be getting one. If you want to just, you just won't be getting one. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, you will do yourself a great disservice. You know, I'm not, you know, I'm not pushing the gray market at all on anybody. And I definitely don't want you to buy used watches. We only buy new watches. But if you really like a watch, if you really want a Batman, you want a Pepsi, you want a Daytona, and you cannot get one from your AD, and the market says, hey, you know, this is the price for it, and you want to sit around, the only thing that's going to happen is that these prices are going to increase, right? In 2018, when the ceramic Pepsi came out, people say, oh, it's all hype. The prices are going to drop. The prices have not dropped. The prices have maintained. And, you know, in some instances, you know, they go up. You go on you go on Chrono 24, any one of these websites, the Pepsi, the Batman, Batgirl, whatever you call it, Daytona, these prices have not dropped from when they were first released at your AD. They have either maintained or gone up. And let me tell you something, I've been getting a lot of DMs from people in the know that they're saying 2021, this year, 2021, Rolex gold watch prices are going to increase by 12%. And the steel watch prices are going to increase by 9 to 10%. So, well, actually he said 12 to 21%. I don't know how true that is with the gold, but you figure, okay, at least 12%, and then 9 to 12% on the steel pieces. So as you're sitting around waiting to get a Batman for $10,000, you know, that train is going to pass you by, my friend, you know, and it's just not going to happen. So what I'm telling you is, if you really want this watch or a watch like it, or, you know, a Rolex watch that you love, and you have the money, and you know, you're not going to be out in front of your store with a cup in your hand if you make this purchase. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Goodbye. You only live once. Life is short. We're going around. All these things is happening. People, you know, life is crazy. Life is, you know, go ahead. You know, you can say, you know, scrimp in other places. You know, you don't need a Gucci belt or you know, a Louis Vuitton belt. You don't need, you know, if you want to, those things are all right. But you know me, I buy my belt at Costco, but I buy any watch I want. So yeah, that's the thing. Just remember that the market determines the price. Rolex doesn't determine the price. The market determines on anything, on a pair of glasses, a house, or a beautiful Rolex timepiece. The market determines the price. You determine the price on a watch. Yeah, so that's it. I'm your host, Richard Prophet. The last dragon of the watch community. And let's do a little freestyle to take us out of here. And I want to thank you everybody for spending your Sunday night with me. Spending your Sunday night with the dragon.